My boyfriend said, "I'm too young to be tied down. I need to explore my options." After 3 years together, I said, "Explore away." He came back 6 months later, ready to commit. I rejected him and said, "I don't need you anymore." And that was when the chaos began. My name is Elena Reed. I was 27 when Mason Vale looked across a restaurant table and told me, with the confidence of someone ordering a drink, that he needed to find himself outside of our relationship. We had been together for 3 years. 3 years is long enough to learn someone's coffee order, their bad moods, their favorite side of the bed, the exact silence they fall into when something is wrong. It is long enough to survive real life together and mistake endurance for commitment. Mason and I met at a friend's game night. He was funny, sharp, easy to talk to, the kind of man who made every room feel warmer when he wanted to. He had this boyish charm people forgave too quickly. I did too. We survived his finishing school, my job relocation, and even 6 months of long distance when he took an internship 2 states away. I thought that meant something. I thought we had already passed the kind of tests couples brag about later. That was before I understood that some people do not pass tests. They simply wait until the stakes are higher before showing you who they are. The conversation happened on a Thursday evening. We were at the taco place we loved, the one with uneven wooden tables and lights strung across the ceiling. We had been talking about the apartment we were supposed to move into together. I had already paid the deposit. We were discussing furniture layouts, arguing lightly over whether the couch should face the window or the TV. Then Mason put his fork down. "Elena," he said, "we need to talk." My stomach dropped before my mind caught up. Nobody says that before good news. I looked at him carefully. Okay. He rubbed his hands together, then looked away like the wall behind me had suddenly become fascinating. "I've been thinking," he said. "I'm 25. I've only really been with a few women, including you, and lately I just feel like I'm missing out." I stared at him. He kept going because silence made him nervous, and Mason hated being uncomfortable. "I don't mean that in a bad way. I love you. You know I love you, but I'm too young to be tied down." "Tied down?" I repeated. He winced, like the words sounded worse now that I had said them back. "We're moving in together, Mason. We're not getting married tomorrow." "But that's the path, right?" he said. "Move in, get engaged, get married, kids, all of it." And I just keep thinking, what if I never got to experience anything else? Something cold moved through my chest. "So you want to break up," I said slowly, "so you can date other women." He exhaled, relieved that I had said the ugly part for him. "I don't want to call it that. What do you want to call it?" "A break. Space. Time to explore." I almost laughed, but there was nothing funny about the way he reached across the table for my hand, as if this was a negotiation and not a betrayal. I pulled my hand back. His face changed for half a second, irritation, then softness again. "We can still be friends," he said quickly. "And who knows, maybe after I've had time to figure myself out, we can reconnect. You're definitely wife material, Elena, just not yet." Wife material, not yet. Like I was a house he wanted to reserve while he toured better neighborhoods. Like I was supposed to sit quietly on a shelf while he checked whether someone shinier made him feel younger. I looked at him for a long moment. "Mason," I said, keeping my voice low, "listen carefully. If you leave this relationship to explore your options, we are done. Permanently." He gave a small laugh, the kind people use when they think you are being dramatic. "Come on, people take breaks all the time." "This is not a break. Elena, you are ending a 3-year relationship because you want to see what else is out there." His jaw tightened. "That's not fair." "It's accurate." He leaned back, frustrated now. "I knew you'd react like this, and I knew something was wrong the second you said we needed to talk." "I'm trying to be honest with you." "No," I said. "You're trying to keep me emotionally available while you act single." That landed. I saw it in his face. For the first time that night, Mason looked less certain. "I just need to get this out of my system," he said. "That doesn't mean I don't love you." "It means you love the idea of me waiting." He opened his mouth, then closed it. I took cash from my wallet and placed enough on the table to cover my half of the meal. My hands were steady. That surprised me. Inside, something had cracked so cleanly there was no room left for shaking. "Elena, don't walk away like this." I stood. "You asked to explore," I said. "Explore away." He stared at me like I had skipped my line in a scene he had already written. I walked out before he could make himself the victim. The air outside was cold. I remember that more clearly than anything else. The sudden bite of it on my face, the noise of traffic, the feeling that my life had just split in half beside a restaurant window. I went straight home, not to cry, not yet. First, I called the landlord. The apartment deposit was in my name. Mason had been meaning to sign the paperwork, but somehow never got around to it. At the time, I thought he was busy. Looking back, maybe some part of him had already kept one foot outside the door. I lost $500 canceling the plan. Best money I ever lost. Then I packed his things from my apartment into 2 boxes: hoodie, charger, toothbrush, old sneakers, a few books he had pretended he would read. I left them with the building desk and sent one message before blocking him everywhere. Your things are downstairs. Do not come up. Then I blocked his number, his Instagram, his email, every app where his name could appear like a ghost. I did not do it dramatically. I did it cleanly, because Mason wanted freedom. And I was not going to become the woman standing on the sidelines, clapping politely while he searched for someone better, only to welcome him back when the world disappointed him. That night, I sat on the floor beside the empty space where his gaming console used to be and finally cried. Not because I wanted him back, because 3 years had been reduced to one sentence. I need to explore my options. And the worst part was not that he had said it. The worst part was how sure he looked that I would still be there when he was done. 2 months passed. No messages, no calls, no "I miss you." No late-night regret wrapped in soft words and empty promises. Just silence. And for the first time in 3 years, my life felt quiet. Not the kind of quiet that feels empty, the kind that feels like space. I didn't rush to fill it. I let it stay. At first, everything felt mechanical. Wake up, go to work, come home, eat something simple, sleep, repeat. There were moments when I'd reach for my phone out of habit, thinking I should tell Mason something small, something stupid, then remember there was no us anymore. That reflex faded faster than I expected. What replaced it was something sharper: clarity. I signed up for a coding boot camp my company offered. It wasn't something I had time for before, not with date nights, weekend trips, and the constant effort of maintaining a relationship that now, looking back, had required more energy than I admitted. I started going to the gym regularly, not dramatically, not as some transformation arc, just consistently. I slept better. I worked better. 3 weeks in, my manager pulled me aside. "You've been on fire lately," she said. "We're considering you for team lead." I remember blinking at her, surprised. Not because I didn't think I deserved it, but because I hadn't realized how much of myself I had been holding back. By the end of the 2nd month, I got the promotion. No celebration dinner, no dramatic announcement, just a quiet email and a quiet realization. I was fine, more than fine. I was better. That was when the messages started, not from Mason, from the people around him. The first one came from an unknown number. "Hey, Elena, it's Tessa. Mason's really struggling. Can we talk?" I stared at the message for a few seconds, then deleted it. No reply, no explanation, nothing. The second attempt was more creative. His sister Nora found me on LinkedIn. "Hi, Elena. Hope work is going well. Random question. Are you going to Brent's birthday party this weekend? Mason mentioned you guys are taking some space, but he really misses you." Taking some space, like I had stepped out for air and would come back when I was ready. I closed the message without responding. They weren't reaching out for me. They were reaching out for him. And I wasn't interested in playing messenger for someone who had already made his choice. Then came the coincidence. The first time, I was at my usual coffee shop. Saturday morning. Same seat by the window. Same order. I had just opened my laptop when I heard it. "Elena?" I looked up. Mason, standing there like he had just stumbled into me by accident. "Oh, wow," he said, smiling too quickly. "What are the odds?" I studied him for a moment, then went back to my screen. "Pretty high," I said, "considering you know my routine." He laughed, like I had made a joke. "Come on, don't be like that." "I'm working." He hovered for a second longer, then sat down anyway, uninvited. "I've been thinking about you," he said. I didn't look up. "Then stop." Silence stretched between us. He shifted in his seat. "I didn't expect you to just disappear." "I didn't disappear," I said calmly. "I left." "That's not the same thing." "It is when you're the one who ended it." He flinched. I let that sit there. After a minute, he stood up, awkward, unsure of what to do without a script. "Maybe we can talk sometime," he said. "No. Just one word. Clean. Final." He nodded slowly, like he didn't quite understand what had just happened, then walked away. The second coincidence happened at the grocery store. The third at the bookstore I went to every Saturday afternoon. By then, I didn't even bother pretending. "You don't like this store," I said when he approached me again. "You said the produce section smells weird." He looked annoyed. "People change." "Exactly." I took my basket and walked to checkout without another word. What I didn't see directly, I heard from mutual friends. Mason's exploration phase. Different girl every week. Clubs, parties, trips. A Vegas weekend with someone he met on a dating app. Photos posted like proof, like evidence that he had made the right choice. Living his best life. At least that was what the caption said. I didn't block the people who told me. But I didn't ask either. Information has a way of finding you when people think you should care. The truth was, I didn't. Not anymore. Then, 6 months after that dinner, after the tacos, the speech, the certainty in his voice, I came home from the gym one evening and saw him, sitting outside my apartment door, not standing, not pacing, sitting. Like he had been there for a while. He wasn't dressed like the version of himself I had heard about. No club clothes, no confidence. He was wearing my old college hoodie, the one he used to steal and never give back. For a second, something in my chest tightened. Memory is dangerous like that. It doesn't ask permission. "Elena," he said when he saw me. I didn't answer. I walked past him, took my keys out, and unlocked my door. He stood up quickly. "Please," he said. 5 minutes. I paused, not because I wanted to listen, because I wanted to hear how he would say it, how someone who had been so sure he needed the world would explain coming back empty-handed. "You had 3 years," I said without turning around. "You traded them for 6 months." Silence. Then, "I made a mistake." "Of course you did." I turned slowly to face him. For the first time, he looked smaller. Not physically, just less certain. "I explored," he continued. "I dated. I went out. I did everything I thought I wanted to do. And," his voice cracked slightly, "and none of it mattered." There it was, the line he had probably practiced. "I kept comparing everyone to you," he said, "and nobody came close." I almost smiled, not because it was flattering, because it was predictable. "I know now," he said softly, "that you're the one I want." The one I want. Not the one he chose. The one he came back to after testing the rest. I let out a quiet breath. "Mason," I said, "I'm seeing someone." That wasn't true, but I watched his face anyway, watched it fall apart in real time. "What?" he said. "Since when?" "It doesn't matter." "Who is he?" "It doesn't matter." His hands clenched at his sides. "That's not fair." I tilted my head slightly. "Isn't it?" Mason said it like fairness had ever been part of his plan. I looked at him for a long second, then unlocked my door and stepped inside. He followed. Not past the threshold, but close enough that his presence pressed into the space like something I couldn't quite shut out yet. "Elena, wait," he said quickly. "You can't just say that and walk away." I turned back, still holding the door halfway open. "I just did." His jaw tightened. "Who is he?" I almost laughed again, not because it was funny, because it was the same pattern, just reversed. When he wanted freedom, my feelings didn't matter. Now that I had moved on, real or not, suddenly everything had to be explained. "You don't get to ask me that," I said. "I do," he insisted. "After everything we had, I cut in. Past tense." He flinched again. "Good." "I didn't think you'd actually move on," he admitted, voice lower now. I thought you'd understand." There it is, I said quietly. What? The part you weren't supposed to say out loud. His eyes narrowed slightly. What are you talking about? You didn't want a breakup, I said. You wanted a pause button. You wanted to go out, do whatever you wanted, and come back to me when you were done. That's not... It is, I said, sharper now. You literally told me I was wife material, just not yet, like I was something you could come back and claim later. His silence confirmed it. I just needed time, he said finally. That doesn't mean I stopped loving you. No, I said. It means you loved having me available. That hit harder. I saw it in the way his shoulders dropped slightly. I made a mistake, he said again, like repetition would make it smaller. I know that now. Isn't that what matters? No. The word came out simple, flat, final. What matters, I continued, is that you made a choice, and now you don't like the outcome. That's not fair, he repeated, weaker this time. You don't get to use that word anymore. He stepped closer, just a little. Please, Elena. We had something real. We did, I said. And you threw it away. I thought we were strong enough to survive it. We were, I said. You weren't. That landed. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he did something I hadn't expected. He sat down, right there, outside my door again. I'll wait, he said. I blinked. You'll what? I'll wait, he repeated. If you're seeing someone, fine. I'll wait until you realize this isn't real, that we're meant to be together. There it was again. That certainty, that quiet, stubborn belief that I was part of his story, whether I agreed or not. You don't get to decide that, I said. I'm not deciding, he said. I'm just not giving up. I stared at him. This wasn't romantic. This wasn't persistence. This was refusal. Mason, I said slowly, go home. He shook his head. I'm not leaving. I let out a breath. For a second, I considered arguing, explaining, trying to make him understand. But he already understood. He just didn't accept it. So I stepped back inside, closed the door halfway, and pulled out my phone. What are you doing? He asked, suddenly uneasy. Solving the problem. I dialed building security. Yes, I said calmly when they answered. There's someone outside my apartment who's refusing to leave. He's not a resident. Mason stood up quickly. Elena, don't do that. I ignored him. Yes, I'll wait. I hung up. You're seriously calling security on me? He said, disbelief creeping into his voice. Yes. We dated for 3 years. And now we don't. You're overreacting. No, I said. I'm responding appropriately. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing now. I just wanted to talk. You had 6 months. That's not the same thing. It is when you're the one who walked away. He stopped pacing, looked at me, really looked this time. And for the first time since he showed up, I saw it. Not confidence, not certainty, fear. You're serious, he said quietly. I've been serious since the night you left. The elevator dinged down the hall. Security. 2 guards approached, calm but firm. Ma'am, is this the individual? One of them asked. Yes. They turned to Mason. Sir, we're going to need you to leave the premises. This is ridiculous, he said. I'm just talking to my girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend, I corrected. The guard nodded slightly. Sir, you need to leave. Mason looked at me one more time. Elena, don't do this. I'm not, I said. You did. The guard stepped closer. He hesitated, like he was waiting for me to change my mind. I didn't. Finally, he let out a breath and walked toward the elevator with them. But just before he stepped inside, he turned back. This isn't over, he said. We're meant to be together. You know that. The doors closed. Silence returned. Real silence. I stood there for a moment, staring at the empty hallway. Then I closed my door, locked it. And for the first time since he showed up, I didn't feel anything at all. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. The next morning, everything escalated, not slowly, not subtly, immediately. I walked into work, coffee in hand, already thinking about a meeting I had in 30 minutes. Then reception called. Elena, there's someone here asking for you. I frowned slightly. Who? He says he's your boyfriend. My grip tightened around the coffee cup. Of course he did. I'll be down in a minute, I said. I didn't rush. I didn't panic. By the time I reached the lobby, Mason was already standing there, holding a paper bag from the sandwich shop we used to go to every weekend. He smiled when he saw me. Too easily. Too normally. Hey, he said. You forgot your lunch. The receptionist looked between us, confused. I didn't even slow down. She's mistaken, I said calmly to the front desk. He's my ex. Please have him removed. Mason blinked. Elena, I didn't look at him. The security guard at the front desk stepped forward. Sir, you'll need to leave. This is ridiculous, Mason said, lowering his voice but not his frustration. I'm just bringing her food. I didn't ask you to. He turned to me again. Can we just talk for 5 minutes? No. The word came easier now, cleaner, like something I no longer had to think about. Security guided him toward the door. He resisted just enough to make it uncomfortable, not enough to make it dramatic. Don't do this, he said quietly as he passed me. I didn't respond. I didn't even turn around, but I felt it, the shift. This wasn't about reconnecting anymore. This was about control. My manager called me into her office 10 minutes later. Everything okay? She asked. Ex-boyfriend, I said simply. Having trouble understanding what ex means. She nodded slowly. Will this be a problem? No, I said. I'll handle it. At the time, I believed that. I believed it would end with embarrassment, with one failed attempt. I underestimated how far someone will go when they think they're entitled to you. That afternoon, flowers arrived. Huge arrangement. White roses, the kind that take up half a desk and demand attention from everyone in the room. The card read, For my soulmate, always yours. M. I stared at it for a long moment, then picked it up and walked it straight to the break room. Free flowers, I told the admins. Enjoy. No hesitation, no sentiment, just removal. That night, my phone started lighting up. Not from him. From accounts I didn't recognize. Comments on old posts. Photos from 2 years ago suddenly tagged again. Inside jokes resurrected like they meant something now. Then a message forwarded from a mutual friend. Mason had posted a long paragraph on Instagram about losing the love of his life, about pride getting in the way, about true love that doesn't disappear. My favorite line, she says she's moved on, but I know she still loves me. I read it once, then closed the app. He wasn't talking to me. He was performing. The next escalation came through my mother. Of course it did. She called me in the evening, her voice uncertain. Sweetheart, Mason just called. I closed my eyes for a second. What did he say? He sounded upset, said you two had a fight and you won't talk to him. A fight. That was how he framed it. He ended the relationship, I said calmly, 6 months ago, to date other people. Now he wants me back. I said no. There was a pause. Then, oh, another pause. So he left you to sleep around? Yes. And now he expects you to take him back? Yes. A longer silence this time. Then my mother exhaled slowly. Oh, absolutely not. Despite everything, I almost smiled. I liked him, she continued. But no, that's not how this works. He doesn't see it that way. Well, he's about to. I don't need you to get involved. Too late, she said. He called me. I didn't ask what she said. I didn't need to. Because the next day, I got a call from his mother, and she wasn't calm. How dare you, she snapped the second I answered. How dare you turn your mother against my son? I pulled the phone slightly away from my ear. I didn't. He made one mistake, she continued, voice rising. One mistake, and you're punishing him like this? One mistake? I repeated. Yes, he asked for space. That's normal. He ended the relationship to pursue other women, I said evenly. Silence. Then, you're destroying him, she said. He's heartbroken. I almost laughed. He made a choice, I said. I made mine. You'll regret this. Then why did he leave? That stopped her, completely. A beat of silence stretched across the line. Then her voice changed. Cold. Then you're a cold, heartless woman. No, I said. I'm a woman who knows her worth. I hung up before she could respond. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. The calls kept coming. Different numbers. Blocked numbers. Voicemails left in the middle of the night. At first they sounded apologetic. I miss you. I made a mistake. Please just talk to me. Then they changed. I know you're home. I saw your light on. That guy from your gym, is that him? We're meant to be together. I'll wait forever. I started saving everything, every voicemail, every message, every unknown number. Not because I was scared, because I was done being unprepared. A few days later, I met my friend Daniel, who also happened to be a lawyer, for coffee. I showed him everything. He scrolled through the messages, his expression tightening. This is harassment, he said. I figured. You need to document everything. I already am. Good, he said, because if this escalates, and it probably will, you're going to need it. I leaned back slightly. It's already escalating. He nodded. Then we prepare. How? He met my eyes. We build a case. That night, I created a folder. Screenshots, voicemails, call logs, dates, times, locations, everything. Not emotional, not reactive, structured, controlled. Because somewhere between the restaurant and the flowers, this stopped being about heartbreak and became something else entirely, something colder, something more dangerous. And deep down, I knew he wasn't done yet. The first date I agreed to after Mason was supposed to be simple. His name was Nolan. We met during the coding boot camp. Same class, same group project, same quiet way of working through problems without needing attention. He wasn't loud, didn't try to impress, didn't push. He just showed up, consistently. That alone made him different. We kept it simple. Dinner at a small Italian place. Nothing flashy, nothing complicated. Just a normal evening with someone who didn't come with history attached. For the first time in a long time, I felt calm. We were halfway through the meal when Nolan paused mid-sentence. His expression shifted slightly. Hey, he said, lowering his voice. Don't turn around immediately, but there's someone at the bar who's been staring at us for a while. I didn't need to guess. I already knew. Still, I turned. Mason. Of course it was him, standing at the bar like he had been waiting for this exact moment, wearing the dark shirt I bought him for our second anniversary. He lifted his glass slightly, like a toast. Then he started walking toward us. I exhaled slowly. Nolan, I said quietly, whatever happens, don't engage. He gave a small nod, but I could already tell he wasn't the type to stay silent if things crossed a line. Mason reached the table with that same familiar smile, the one that used to feel warm. Now it just looked rehearsed. Elena, he said, like this was a coincidence. Wow, what are the odds? You need to leave, I said. No greeting. No hesitation. His eyes flicked to Nolan. And who's this? Nolan leaned back slightly in his chair, relaxed but alert. That's not your concern. Mason let out a small laugh. Oh, I think it is, he said. I'm Mason, her boyfriend. Ex, I corrected. Temporary, he replied, still smiling. That was the moment Nolan spoke. Yeah, he said calmly. That's not how that works. Mason's smile tightened. And you are? Nolan. He didn't offer more, didn't need to. Mason looked between us, something darker flickering behind his expression now. So this is what you replaced me with? He said. I didn't answer, because this wasn't a comparison. This was a boundary. You're embarrassing yourself, I said quietly. Am I? Mason tilted his head. Or are you trying to prove something with an obvious rebound? Nolan actually laughed. Not mocking, just honest. Look, Nolan said, I don't know what story you're telling yourself, but showing up uninvited to someone's dinner? That's not romantic, that's concerning. Mason's jaw tightened. You don't know anything about us. I know enough, Nolan said. I know she told you to leave, so leave. For a second, It looked like Mason might. Like something in Nolan's tone had cut through whatever version of reality he was holding on to, but then he stepped closer, too close. "Elena," he said, ignoring Nolan now. "We need to talk." "No," I said. "I'm not asking. And I'm not answering." Silence. Tight. Heavy. Then Mason reached for my phone. Fast. Too fast. "What are you doing?" I snapped, pulling back. But his hand clipped the edge of the table, and everything happened at once. Nolan's wineglass tipped. Red liquid spilled across the table, then onto Nolan's shirt. White fabric, now stained deep crimson. The restaurant went quiet. Every head turned. Mason froze. Not because he was sorry, because he realized he had lost control of the situation. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Nolan said, standing up now. "I didn't," Mason started. "Yes, you did," I said sharply. The manager appeared almost immediately. "Sir," he said firmly to Mason, "you need to leave." "I'm not going anywhere," Mason shot back. "This is my girlfriend." "X," I said again, louder this time. "He's been harassing me." The word landed differently. Harassing. Not emotional, not personal, legal. The manager nodded once to a staff member. "Call the police." That changed everything. Mason's confidence cracked. "Elena, don't do this," he said, lowering his voice again. "Please." I stared at him. "You did this," I said. "Every step, every choice, you did this." Within minutes, the atmosphere shifted from uncomfortable to official. Police arrived. Statements were taken. Mine, Nolan's, the manager's, even nearby tables. Mason tried to explain it away. Miscommunication, emotional misunderstanding, just trying to talk. But evidence doesn't care about intention. And Nolan's wine-soaked shirt was evidence. They didn't arrest him, but they gave him a formal trespass warning for the restaurant. And something else. A clear, unmistakable warning. Leave her alone, or the next time wouldn't be a conversation. As they escorted him out, he turned back one last time. "This isn't over," he said. "You know we're meant to be together." The door closed behind him, and for the first time that night, I felt it. Not anger, not sadness, just finality. We stayed, not because the night was salvageable, because leaving would have made it feel like he had won something. Nolan changed into a spare shirt the staff brought him. We ordered pizza instead, sat there in the quiet aftermath of something that had gone completely off script. "I guess that's one way to make a first impression," he said lightly. I let out a small breath. "I'm sorry." "Don't be," he said. "You didn't do anything wrong." He paused, then added, "But you should probably get a restraining order." I met his eyes. "I know." He smiled slightly. "Call me when you do." The next morning, I filed for it. A week later, I walked into court. Courtrooms don't feel dramatic the way people expect. No music, no tension you can hear, just fluorescent lights, quiet shuffling, and the weight of decisions being made in calm voices. I sat beside Daniel, a folder in my hands. Every message, every call log, every voicemail, every incident. Organized, labeled, clean. Across the room, Mason sat with his mother and a lawyer who looked like he had been hired quickly, the kind of last-minute decision you make when you realize things have gone too far. Mason didn't look like the man from the restaurant. No sharp confidence, no edge. He was dressed conservatively. Neutral shirt, clean lines, hair neatly styled, like he was trying to look like someone the court would believe or forgive. For a second, I almost felt something. Then I remembered the voicemails. "I know you're home. I'll wait forever. We're meant to be together." And whatever softness tried to surface disappeared. When the judge entered, everything shifted into motion. Case called, names confirmed, positions established. Then, evidence. Daniel handled most of it. Clear, precise, no emotion. Timeline first, then escalation. Messages, voicemails, witness statements from the restaurant, the trespass warning. Everything laid out not as a story, but as a pattern. That was the key. Not one mistake, a series of choices, repeated, deliberate. Mason's lawyer tried. He stood, adjusted his jacket, and spoke with the kind of careful tone that tries to soften reality. "Your Honor, this is a misunderstanding between two individuals who were in a long-term relationship. My client simply wants closure. The judge looked up. Did you review the evidence? A pause. Yes, Your Honor, but... Specifically the voicemail where your client states, "I can see your light on?" Silence. Even Mason shifted in his seat. The judge didn't raise her voice. Didn't need to. Continue, she said. The lawyer did, but weaker now, less certain, because there's a point where narrative stops working and facts take over. Then Mason spoke, against his lawyer's advice. I could tell from the way the man leaned toward him, whispering something urgent. Mason ignored him. Your Honor, he said, standing, we were together for 3 years. 3 good years. I made one mistake. I asked for space to grow, and now she's punishing me for it. The judge didn't respond immediately. She flipped through the file. Calm, measured. You ended the relationship, she said. Yes, but... And you were informed that this decision would be permanent. She didn't mean it like that. Mason corrected himself quickly, glancing at me. I didn't react. She was upset. The judge looked at him over her glasses. Mr. Vale, you are 25 years old. He said nothing. You are old enough to understand that actions have consequences. Silence. You ended a relationship. Ms. Reed accepted that decision and moved on. Mason's jaw tightened. Your refusal to accept her decision, the judge continued, has resulted in repeated contact, unwanted presence at her home and workplace, and an incident involving physical escalation at a restaurant. I didn't hurt anyone, he said quickly. You attempted to take her phone, resulting in a disruption and damage to another individual's property, the judge replied. Mason opened his mouth, closed it. I just wanted her back, he said finally, voice cracking. Is that a crime? The courtroom went quiet. The judge's expression didn't change. Stalking and harassment are, she said. That was it. No raised voice, no dramatic pause, just truth. The ruling came minutes later. Restraining order granted. 2 years. No contact. 500 feet minimum distance. Any violation would result in immediate legal consequences. It was over, legally. Finally. Outside the courthouse, the air felt different. Lighter. Clearer. Like something had been cut away completely. I was halfway to the parking lot when Mason's mother stepped in front of me. Are you happy now? She snapped. You've humiliated him. Destroyed his reputation. I stopped, looked at her. He did that himself, I said. He loved you. No, I said calmly. He loved the idea of having me waiting. Her expression hardened. You'll regret this. You'll end up alone. Before I could respond, Daniel stepped forward slightly. Ma'am, he said evenly, any further contact, direct or indirect, will be considered a violation. She hesitated, then stepped back, muttering something under her breath as she walked away. I didn't watch her go. There was nothing left to see. The aftermath came quickly. Mason lost his job, apparently showing up unpredictably and being involved in a police-documented incident doesn't reflect well in performance reviews. His social media shifted overnight, from parties and travel to quotes about healing, loss, and surviving toxic relationships. I didn't follow, but people talk. They always do. A mutual friend reached out once. He's in therapy now, she said. He knows he messed up. I nodded slightly, even though she couldn't see me. That's good, I said. I hope he learns something. Maybe in a year or 2, she started. No. I didn't let her finish. Silence. You're really done? She asked. Yes. No hesitation, no anger, just truth. 3 months later, everything was quiet again. The kind of quiet that stays. The restraining order held. No messages, no calls, no coincidences, just distance, real distance. Nolan and I kept seeing each other, slowly, no pressure, no expectations, just 2 people choosing each other, without conditions. One night he joked, I guess I should be flattered. Only quality men come with that level of drama attached. I laughed. Let's not make that a pattern. Sometimes my mom still texts me. Thank God you didn't marry him. At least once a week. My dad just says I handled it better than he would have, which, knowing him, probably means there would have been a very different kind of ending. The truth is, if Mason had just ended things honestly, if he had said, "This isn't what I want anymore," and walked away, it would have hurt, but I would have respected it. I would have let him go. What broke everything wasn't that he left. It was that he expected me to stay, to wait, to be there when he came back, like I was never really a choice, just an option. Looking back, the signs were always there, the small comments, the way he talked about choosing me, like I should feel lucky, like I was something he could pick up or put down depending on what he wanted. I just didn't see it clearly then. Now I do. And here's what I know for sure. You are not someone's backup plan. You are not a safety net. You are not something people put on hold while they figure themselves out. And if someone treats you that way, believe them. Then walk away, cleanly, completely, even if they come back, especially if they come back. Because the moment you stop waiting is the moment everything changes.